Good morning.
Good morning, Katja. I can't hear Francesca as well.
So good morning, everyone. I can see that Francesca is actually talking, but I cannot hear her. I'm not sure whether this is a problem on my side.
Good morning, everyone. The same for me. I can't hear you, Francisca.
So I guess we'll wait a couple of minutes and then Francesca can fix the problem and we can start.
Could you hear me?
Yes.
Could you hear me now?
Yes, that's fine.
Yes.
Now you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry for so much. I was speaking quite for a long time, so I will start again. So welcome everybody, and welcome to this workshop dedicated to the measurement uncertainty training activity. This activity has been conducted within MATMET. MATMET is the European Metrology Network for Mathematics and Statistics. I'm chairing. And the activity specifically was conducted was led by Kati Klauenberg from PTB. But we had on board a lot of members and partners and stakeholders, so you will discover today what we have done so far. I would like to ask you all to remain mute, as you are already doing, but please, in case of any doubts and questions, just raise your hand and or put your question in the chat. We will try to answer everybody. In case we are not able to do that during the workshop, we can answer to you offline by email. So don't be shy and ask for any doubts or question. So I would start with a short introduction to MATMET. You can see here I'm already sharing the agenda of today. So we will have a short introduction from myself and by Kati. And then we have a first part dedicated to the materials we have developed for the trainees of measurement uncertainty courses, and also the materials we have developed for the teachers who teach measurement uncertainty. Then we have a session on the future needs and developments for measurement uncertainty training. And then I remember that the last hour between 15 and 16 p.m. it will be a restricted internal meeting for the consortium. So the workshop will actually close at 3 p.m. So let me introduce to you briefly what is MATMET. For those of you who might not know, MATMET is one of the several European metrology networks established by Euromet. This network is specifically aimed at supporting mathematical and statistical application for measurement science in Europe. And our vision is to ensure the quality and trust in the algorithms, software tools, and data for metrology, as well as in the inferences made from such data, to foster the digital transformation. We are not interested only in the digital transformation. Actually, we want to provide a sustainable structure in mathematics and statistics for metrology in order to strengthen the European measurement infrastructure for facing all the grand challenges, so the digital transformation, as well as the climate change mitigation, health and environmental safety, energy and society sustainability. We have been established in 2019. We have 16 members and partners. Between 2019 and 2023, we were supported by a joint network project. In this project, we developed several outputs. We consulted several stakeholders. We are what we say a backbone EMN in the sense that we have quite a cross-cutting expertise in mathematics and statistics for a variety of applications, from health to environment, from industry to standardization application. We have our stakeholder advisory committee, so stakeholders who help us in defining what we should do for mathematics and statistics for metrology. You can see them here, but we are also very keen to consider as our stakeholder essentially all Euromet, so all the National Metrology Institute, designated institute, other EMS, other technical committees, because really we want to be helpful for the larger variety of stakeholder and metrological bodies. So within, together with our stakeholders, we have understood which were the main scientific and scientific challenges to be faced in the near future, and we collected them and elaborated them within our strategic research agenda. We developed tools to assure the quality of the products that we are going to deliver within our research. So we developed some quality assurance tool, and then also we have been provided support in the form of training, courses, and events and workshops. So two of the main output of the Joint Network project was the strategic research agenda that was published very recently, so you can find it on our website, and it deals with artificial intelligence and machine learning from one side, and also computational modeling and virtual metrology, and both these two challenging topics are based on the cross-cutting topic of data analysis and uncertainty evaluation. And as I said, we also developed these quality assurance tools, but for data, software, and guidelines. So they are interactive risk assessment tool that the end user can fill, and they can help the end user to develop the quality management plan for this kind of product. And we also develop an e-learning course on the BIPM platform, so you can learn everything about quality assurance tool on the website. We have been conducted activities which are outside the JMP, like this, that is a joint activity with the technical committee on interdisciplinary metrology of Euromet, as well as the measurement uncertainty training activity to which this impact workshop is dedicated, and we will talk about that for all the day. We have been provided training courses. We are going to develop a new e-learning courses as well on this measurement uncertainty training activity. We usually organize several conferences and workshops. Every 3 years, we organize the MathMet conference. Every 2 years, we organize the MSMM workshop, which is a joint workshop with MBIS. We organize Advanced Mathematical Computational Tool for Metrology. We co-organize it, and many others. We collected all the projects in which MathMet people is engaged. You can find them on the website as well. They are of a very wide variety, spreading from industrial to health application, environmental application, and whatever. So you can have an idea of the application in which we are involved. So I don't want to steal too much time, but please, if you have any questions on MathMet as a European Metrology Network, you can get in contact with me. And thank you very much. And with this, I would like to leave the floor to Kati for an introduction to this impact workshop and to the measurement uncertainty training activity.
Yes, thank you, Francesca. I will try to share my screen. So I hope you can see my presentation now.
Yes, okay.
Okay, very good. So it is a pleasure to welcome you to the impact workshop of the activity on measurement uncertainty training. And I would like to thank Francesca for organizing this impact workshop. And I would like to introduce you to this activity on measurement uncertainty training for those of you who have not heard about it or have not heard much about it. And for those who have, I might have some updates as well. And my name is Kati Klaunberg. I'm coordinating this activity and I'm from PTB, the German National Metrology Institute. So I think here we all know that measurement uncertainty is important, and there are needs for better understanding of uncertainty in various communities. And an understanding of uncertainty can be disseminated via guidance documents or examples, software training, or even by research, as we just heard. And today we want to focus on the training on measurement uncertainty. And the landscape on measurement uncertainty training is quite heterogeneous because we have very different audiences that need an understanding on uncertainty. And this can be staff from national metrology institutes, from research companies, accreditation, calibration, testing, and so on and so forth, or any mixture of these actually. And therefore, the training is very heterogeneous as well. And you have independent providers of uncertainty courses. You have teachers, courses, and others acting independently. And therefore, we formed a teachers community in 2021, where 16 European partners decided to collaborate on the training on measurement uncertainty. And you see those 16 partners here displayed on the right-hand side. And you see many of the European National Metrology Institutes here, but you also see 2 universities that collaborate, as well as an accreditation body, Accredia, and a national metrology body in Germany here. And those 16 partners decided to collaborate in order to improve the quality, efficiency, and dissemination of measurement uncertainty training. And we are doing this by developing new material for uncertainty training and by establishing an active community for those who are involved in measurement uncertainty training. And this is what we understand as MU training activity. So let's have a look at this first part, at developing new material. And MU training is developing new material for trainees on measurement uncertainty. So if you imagine that this is you and someone just shouted measurement uncertainty at you, you might wonder, what is all of this about? And do I really need to know about this? Should I care? And you would then go to the webpage of the MU training activity and discover a teaser video there. And if you watch it, you would immediately see that uncertainty is very important and you really should learn more about it. And but then you know, well, there's probably no single uncertainty course which fits everyone. And you would go to the website of the MU training activity and you find a survey of 43 courses which are offered in Europe on uncertainty. And you can look at the survey and select that course which best fits your needs. And you can find the contacts to visit this course. Well, and once you have learned how to evaluate uncertainty in such a course, you might want to apply your knowledge. And you can go to the MU training webpage and there find a list of examples on uncertainty evaluation there, or a list of software to evaluate uncertainty. And later on, you might also go back to your course and wonder about details that you have learned there, like how to derive expanded uncertainties, or you might worry about the quality of the data that you use for your uncertainty budget. And you can go to the MU training webpage and find videos on such details there. Well, you see that the MU training activity is developing and has developed material for the trainees on uncertainty. And you find this material on our webpage. And of course, you can listen to our workshop today. And in particular, part 1 will introduce you to all of this material. So let's have a look at the second objective of our activity. And this is the community of teachers on measurement uncertainty. So imagine that this is you and someone told you that you should teach an uncertainty course. Well, and by now you know that there is no single uncertainty course which fits everyone. So you start to wonder about your audience and which needs your audience has on uncertainty. Well, the MU training activity is currently developing a paper on the needs for different audiences. And in the future, you can look at this paper and learn more about your audience. And once you know the needs for your audience, you would like to set up a curriculum for your uncertainty course. And maybe your audience is from the legal or accreditation community. And then you will find that the MU training activity is currently developing suggestions for curricula for these two communities. And you will hear more about them in part 2 of today's workshop. Or if you have other audiences, you might go to the survey of uncertainty courses and have a look which content other teachers are teaching to their audiences. Well, and once you have set up your course, you might want to include some hands-on training in your course. And you can go to the MU training webpage, and in the survey of examples, you find quite an impressive list of classroom examples which other teachers use. Or you might want to use some software in your course and select the one that best fits to your course from the survey of software. And you might want to use some supporting material in your course. And there, of course, you can use the material that we have developed for the trainees, like the videos on expanded uncertainty, on data quality or software. And then you might want to improve your skills that you have when teaching uncertainty. And about 2 years ago, we had a workshop, and today you will hear about some lessons learned from this workshop, where we exchanged expertise and good practice in developing and running training courses. So you see that when you are a teacher of uncertainty, we have developed material for you. And this is, of course, material that we have developed for the trainees and that you will hear in part 1 of this workshop, but also particularly for the teachers, we have some support, and you will hear about this in part 2 of the workshop today. Or you might think about new challenges on uncertainty, and we do have a talk in part 3 on machine learning tools. And if you consider joining the MU training activity, you're very welcome if you would like to actively contribute to our activities. So the MU training activity is a core activity of the EMN MathMet, as Francesca just said, so the European Metrology Network for Mathematics and Statistics. And it is an unfunded activity. So all the material that we have developed is not only available free of charge, we have developed it because we think uncertainty training is important, and we would like to support you in that. And with this material, we have improved the quality, efficiency, and dissemination of measurement uncertainty training already, and we will continue to do so. We will sustain existing material and aspire to develop new material, and we will also continue the exchange among the teachers of uncertainty. For example, by visiting each other's courses and sharing material. And of course, we would also like to further disseminate the material that we have developed. For example, with the workshop today, but also with other activities. And we're very happy to receive feedback on the material that we did develop, and we want to continue to interact with stakeholders. And for all of this, I would like to thank the consortium of the MU training activity, which contributed to developing these results. And with this, I would like to thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Katy, very much for this very nice overview of the activity. I think that now we have a clearer idea on what we are expecting in the forthcoming hours. So thank you again. And I would ask Nicola Fischer from LNE, one of the work package leader of the MU training activity, to chair the next session, which is the section on material for trainees. And just before that, I would like to restate that, as I wrote in the chat, we are not recording this workshop, but we are going to collect all the presentation and to publish on our website, so you will find them later on. So please, Nicola, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Francesca. Thank you, Katy, for introducing very nicely the different materials that are going to be available for the trainees, for the teachers. So let's start, don't wait for more time, with the different surveys produced during this MATMET activity. And so 3 different surveys were produced and delivered and are available online, already introduced by Katy. So I propose to start right now with the first surveys, the one on the training courses throughout the different partners. And Francesca, I think you are going to present this survey.
Yes. Could you see my slide?
Yes, we do. We do.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, I prepare a lot of slides, but as I told you, we will put it on the website. So I think I will run through some of them and just concentrate on the results that are, according to us, more important to show you now. This was one of the very first activity we undertook during the MU training activity. So it was a survey on training courses. Training courses organized and taught by members of the consortium, but also by 3 of our stakeholders. You can see here all the titles, but of course you can have a look at the raw data we collected on the website of our measurement uncertainty training activity. We collected and we made a survey of 43 courses on measurement uncertainty evaluation for a total number of more than 900 hours of teaching. Here is the distribution according to the partners. We discovered that about half of the courses are actually integrated into a dedicated or specific training framework or project. And some of them most of them are main courses. Some other are main courses with a module specifically dedicated on measurement uncertainty evaluation, and some others are simply modules on measurement uncertainty. As I said, I will skip these, which are less, are informative, but to me less important. Just to say to you that anyway, we discovered that 77% of the courses are recurring, are on a recurring base, 18% are on demand, and we have also some sleeping activity that could be reactivated on request. The duration of each course is very diverse. You can see 1 to 4 hour duration course, but up to 30, more than 30 hours. And these are the longest course are typically from academia, so our course to our university or PhD courses. More than half of the courses actually are not thought for a specific field of application, so they could be considered as general courses on measurement uncertainty suitable for every application. The other part are courses with specific field of application, and you can see here a cloud of the more recurrent keywords for these applications. The courses overall cover 10 languages, and 16% of the courses are actually offered in more than one language. They are either online or in person, or there are courses that could be either or both online and in person. And what I want to mention is that 9 of these 10 courses that are exclusively online actually are pre-recorded courses that pertain to well-consolidated training courses provided by the NMI from Spain, from UK, from French, and also from the Joint Research Center of the European Commission. As for the material provided in the course, of course, all the courses provide some kind of lecture notes, a presentation, but there are also occurrences of supplementary material, links to website, video, leaflet, exercise, and so on. Half of the courses foreseen a final examination. Most of them provide a kind of certificate of attendance, and half of them have a fee to enroll the course. We concentrated on the target audience of the courses. We discovered that actually 12% of the courses were addressing legal metrology, 33% National Metrology Institute, 55% were taught to calibration and testing laboratory, and 28% to academia. Academia here I intend university students. We also required if there were some specific constraints or prerequisites for attending the course. And you can see that, for example, basic knowledge on mathematics and statistics is required, usually up to 1/3 of the courses to any audience. So you have to have some basic knowledge on maths and stats. Some basic knowledge on the GAM, the Guide to the Expression of Uncertainty Measurement, is required to calibration and testing laboratory and NMI, and we are here. There is also some request of very good mathematical and metrology knowledge already required at the academia level and NMI level, but then there are very few constraints required to legal audience. Okay, then we ask if the courses provide some kind of review of mathematical tools, and 65% of courses do not provide this kind of review because this basic knowledge is generally assumed. The other way around, 86% of the courses provide some review on probability concepts, and 96% provide a review of metrological topics. So it is conceived as important to provide this kind of review of probabilistics and metrological definitions and topics. All the courses provided some information on the input standard uncertainty. The only no we have here actually is for a course completely dedicated to Monte Carlo method for propagation of distribution. So it was not concerned with input standard uncertainty, but this is something that a really basic ingredients provided by the courses. Then we were very much interested in understanding to which extent these courses were compliant with the guides provided by the Joint Committee for the Guides and Metrology Working Group 1, who developed the GAM, for example, the Guide of Expression of Uncertainty Measurement, but also other supplementary documents like the 101, GCGM 102. So we were interested in understanding how much these courses were aligned with this reference documentation. And we discovered that practically all the courses are teaching the Guide to the Expression of Uncertainty measurement. The first, also even higher orders, Taylor expansion, so the low propagation uncertainty based on the Taylor expansion, and the expanded uncertainty. So only 3 courses do not treat LPU, low propagation uncertainty. But this percentage decreases dramatically when we ask for the low propagation uncertainty for multivariate models. So 81% do not treat LPU for multivariate models. We also ask if the course teaches about the JCGM 101, so the Monte Carlo method for propagation of distribution for univariate model. And this, we have a 44 positive answers, so this is not bad. But again, this percentage decreased dramatically when we ask for JCGM 102, so the Monte Carlo method for multivariate models. Very few deals with that. We can notice that among the courses that deal with JCGM 101, 6 of these 19 deal also with 102, so the multivariate extension. But this 6 is maybe a few with respect to 19. This is something we can maybe increase, because if you teach Monte Carlo method for univariate model, maybe without too much effort, you can teach it also for multivariate model. And then we also discovered that 6 of the 8 courses that deal with low propagation of uncertainty for multivariate models deals also with the corresponding Monte Carlo method. This is quite good because, okay, we have few courses dedicated on multivariate models, but when they deal with multivariate models, they do it almost all by both the low propagation uncertainty and the Monte Carlo method. We also make some consideration on the distribution of the topics across the several audience, and we have discovered that we have only here 8 courses dealing with low propagation uncertainty for multivariate models, and they are addressed to academia, NMI, and calibration testing, but no one addresses legal audience. And for what concerns Monte Carlo method, it is taught in almost no legal course again, but it is taught in a third of the calibration and testing laboratory, in half of the courses that address NMI, and in most of the courses that are held for academia. We collected other topics that are mentioned outside the usual LPU and Monte Carlo method. So we have courses teaching linear regression, Bayesian inference, conformity assessment, and you can read them. We collected the references typically used for the courses. We have that 33% of the courses do not mention use of software, but the other actually mention at least one of the following software, or uses one of the following software for teaching the topics. And then concluding, we can say that we have main differences among courses that depends on the target audience. We can make a comment on the fact that pre-recorded courses allow trainees to manage their training time, of course, as they prefer, but from the other side, they do not allow any media exchange between trainers and trainees. We have seen that the majority of courses provide a review of probabilistic topics and a review of metrological topics. We have seen some gaps. Few courses are dedicated on multivariate models, either addressing the low propagation uncertainty or teaching the Monte Carlo method. So in general, there is more than 80% of courses that do not treat multivariate models, and this is quite a gap according to us. But then there are 67% of courses that mention the use of some software languages. So I would stop here, and if you have any question, I'm happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Francesca. And maybe those who have questions, do not hesitate to write them in the chat. That will be useful. Then there's a time, I think, at the end of the day, the discussion with the audience. So that will be very nicely to discuss your question at that time. Thank you very much, Francesca. Now let's move on to the second survey dedicated to the classroom examples, going to be presented by Peter Harris from NPL. Please, Peter.
Hi, Nicola. Let me just set things up.
Yes, we see your slide.
Let me just. Excellent. Okay, so Good morning, everybody. I'm going to talk about part of the activity that was concerned with a survey of classroom examples. So just as some background, I think most of us would agree that classroom examples are an important component of training on measurement uncertainty, perhaps of training on any topic. And I would say that measurement uncertainty, or perhaps it's just me, is often taught more as a generic and sometimes as an abstract concept, and then practical examples can help to bring that concept of measurement uncertainty and its evaluation to life for the student. And I think that examples that are close to the area of interest for the student can be a powerful teaching aid and has the added benefit of providing a template for bringing measurement uncertainty and its evaluation to the students' working practices. So bringing these concepts and these methods very close to the working practices of a practitioner. And I was reflecting on how we teach measurement uncertainty at MPL and realised that we started off by developing a pathway of e-learning courses of increasing depth on the general topic of measurement uncertainty. So really not targeting particular areas of metrology, but more lately we have focused more on developing application-specific courses and courses that are aimed at particular audiences, exploiting examples that are attractive to those audiences. So, for example, we now have a course on uncertainty analysis for Earth observation, which is really targeted at climate scientists, and we have several courses on uncertainty propagation for quantitative MRI, which are largely targeted at MRI physicists. So the aim of the survey was really twofold. So it was to categorize available classroom examples, firstly to help students to identify training courses that were suitable for their needs, so looking for training courses that included examples that resonated with them, and secondly to help training providers to ensure good coverage of their training products and courses and targeting them at student needs, knowing where there might be a lack of examples for a particular audience. And we went about the survey by analysing two sources of classroom examples. So the first was using the information collected from the survey of existing courses from partners in the MathMet MU training activity. So this is what Francesca was speaking of in the previous talk. So that produced 69 examples across the 43 courses. And then we also looked at another source, a compendium of examples that was the output of a European funded MPEER project, EMU, examples of measurement uncertainty evaluation that gave us access to 41 examples over 6 broad application areas. And I would recommend that a compendium to anyone who's interested in the topic of measurement uncertainty and in teaching it. And we looked at 4 characteristics of these examples: the application area, the metrology area, the technical approach taken to evaluation, and the level of difficulty. And the results of that are summarised in a spreadsheet that's available on the activity website and in an article that we published in Acta Amico. And I'm just going to briefly summarise some of the high-level messages from that. So in terms of application area, for the course examples, more than one application area was sometimes identified, but it was very clear what the top two categories were, that those examples were mainly aimed at the application areas of calibration and testing. So those two categories covered about, I think, together 2/3 of all the application areas. Although for some, about 10%, no specific area was actually identified. Looking at the EMU examples, so from the compendium, that project had decided on 6 specific application areas or strategic areas that were fixed in advance. And consequently, the distribution of the examples across those strategic areas was quite uniform, largely by design, I guess. And I think in hindsight, what we ought to have done is to use those particular strategic areas for characterizing the examples in the course examples, the surveyed course examples. We also looked at metrology area. So for the course examples, they covered 15 areas, and again there were clearly a top 2. So the top 2 metrology areas covered by those examples were dimensional and temperature, and it may be that the focus on those two areas comes from the fact that the belief, say, that those 2 areas are perhaps more accessible and therefore more likely to be of wider interest. For the EMU examples, there were 19 areas, and again a much more uniform distribution of those examples across those 19 areas. Again, the top 2 here were in fact chemistry and flow metrology, but I suspect that is largely a reflection of the people and the interests of the people that were involved in that project. So thinking about the approach to measurement uncertainty evaluation. So again, the examples can consider more than one approach. For the course examples, there were very much, again, a clear top 2 here, very much a focus on the JCGM 100, which is the GUM and the use of the law of propagation of uncertainty that Francesca mentioned, and JCGM 101, which is the Monte Carlo supplement to the GUM. And most of the examples in those courses were focused on teaching those 2 particular approaches. For the EMU examples, the top 2 were again JCGM 101, 100 and JCGM 101, but again more of a uniform distribution across other possibilities. So those examples do consider the Bayesian approach to measurement uncertainty evaluation, approaches to regression problems as well, such as in a couple of ISO technical specifications. So that they are also considered in those examples. And finally, the level of difficulty. So this, I guess, is rather a subjective characterization. So for the course examples, the level of difficulty was selected by the owner of the course, and most very much the majority were classified as simple or medium, thinking of a 3-level scale. For the EMU examples, it was my own subjective judgment regarding how a non-expert might perceive the example, and I judged that most of those examples were much more difficult in in their level of difficulty, perhaps because of some of the methods that they were trying to illustrate. So just in summary, we took examples from 2 sources, and I think generally found that the examples from those 2 sources were complementary, and particularly in terms of the metrology area addressed and the level of difficulty of the examples. So, for example, the examples from the EMU compendium offer a much wider range of illustrating different approaches to uncertainty evaluation, including Bayesian, looking at regression problems, and also top-down approaches as well. And we hope that this overview and this survey is helping to support the identification of gaps in existing training courses in terms of examples, identifying interesting cases to be further developed in the form of classroom examples, and is helping to facilitate the exchange of knowledge between those teaching measurement uncertainty and developing courses. And I'd just like to acknowledge, I think that this couldn't have been done without the partners in the measurement uncertainty training activity who completed the survey, but also the authors of the compendium of the from the EMU project. And again, I say that's it's a very interesting and valuable resource. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Peter. So for this overview of the examples that are used and training courses, and also providing by documents like the compendium from the EMU project. There's a large variety of examples we've just seen. And so I propose we'll move on to the third surveys, and depending on the remaining time, then we'll see if we can take some questions. So for the last survey, which is dedicated to software for EMU evaluation. Software is very important because at the end, we should all implement the EMU methods. It's Francesca Penetti again who is going to present the survey. Francesca?
Yeah. Thank you, Nicola. Yes, this is the third surveys we have conducted. We did the EMU training activity, and this was about the software already available performing to some extent some kind of measurement uncertainty evaluation. Okay, so actually one of the objectives of the EMU training activity was to develop, to review freely available material, to produce some videos that Katy already mentioned to us, and we will have all the next session dedicated to the videos we have been produced, and also to perform a systematic overview of available courses, examples, and software. So we have just talked about the review of courses and examples, and now I'm going to show you what we had done concerning the available software. Also in this case, you can find all the raw data on our web pages, so you can download it and have a direct look at the software. So here now we have, I'm going to present you a summary of what we have collected. Actually, we started from a selection of 50 software dedicated to measurement uncertainty evaluation. They came from a dedicated Wikipedia page, but also from the offer from the several members of the consortium. Some of them are dealing or are producing or have produced software for EMU evaluation. Then so far we have been able to analyze up to 35 of these software. So we can go on further if we have time and effort to review the others. And I want to thank the members, the partners who contributed to this survey and to this review of the software. Mainly we were collecting general information on the software, technical features, and again, a focus was on how much they were adherent to the JCGM suite of documents. So again, as we already said, me and Nicola, the JCGM 100, which is the GAM, the JCGM 101, the supplement dedicated to the propagation of distribution using Monte Carlo method, and then 102 that is actually for multivariate models. So it offers a generalization of the GAM, and then 101. So it wants to generalize to multivariate models, both the low propagation uncertainty and the Monte Carlo method. Here you can see the name of the software we have been reviewed. And first of all, we ask for general information. We ask for the name, the website, a short description, the license, and so on. What we can see is that there is a wide variety, ranging from basic uncertainty calculators to quite complex broad scope software, and also ranging from user-friendly web application to quite a large and comprehensive collection of libraries and tools. So there is quite a variety of software. We were asking if they were cross-platform, in the sense if they were designed to work in several computing platforms, and actually 74% were cross-platform. 85% were computer-based software, and rather than web application. This was the alternative. 54% provide some evidence of validation of the software. So if we put together here this 48 and 60%, we have 54%, which is not, in my opinion, very high percentage of software proving that has been appropriately validated. All the software were have an English version, but there are also some software provided in other languages. These are the typical programming languages used by the software, so mainly C, and also Python, R, MATLAB, and some others. Okay, what about the technical feature? We were asking if the software was able to handle some specific characteristics or quantities, and we discovered that some are well covered. For example, we asked if the software was able to handle correlated input quantities, and also to handle more than one output quantity, so multivariate models. And in most of the cases, the answer was yes, or yes started means partially addressed. Also, we have a good answer for handling of the nonlinear models. Of course, you apply the software most of the time when you cannot solve your problem by simply applying low propagation uncertainty. So simply assuming that your model is linear. So if your model is nonlinear, the software is properly accounting for that. And then also we have a good answer, a good positive ratio answer for the fact that the software can export the output of the results in a proper way. But then we were asking for other characteristics. For example, if the software was able to handle a complex quantity or implicit model, and actually in most of the cases they are not able to do that. They are not able to handle units, measurement units, in the sense that to provide measurement units in the input of your model, and the software provides you the estimate and the uncertainty, including the units. This is not done most of the cases, nor the symbolic uncertainty evaluation. And also there is a majority of no answers in many other cases. If we have a graphical user interface of the software is able to deal with the repeated input observations on taking the standard deviation, the mean, for example, and if it is able to provide, an uncertainty, a proper whole uncertainty budget table as the output. So we have some kind of lags. Then we were asking about the adherence to the JCGN 100, so the GAM. And we can say that in most of the cases, we have a good application of the low propagation uncertainty, both without input correlation, 71% of the case, but also with input correlation. There is more than half dealing with this case. And also, yes, this is the formula without correlation, okay. But also the calculation, either analytical or numerical, of the sensitivity coefficients is done most of the cases, and most of the cases an expanded uncertainty at a prescribed coverage probability is provided. Instead, we were asking about the low propagation uncertainty from higher order Taylor expansion, so keeping into consideration some kind of nonlinearity of the model, and this is almost always not done. So adding this piece of formula is not considered by the software, nor the provision of a summary of the standard uncertainty components and the calculation of the effective degrees of freedom. This is often not provided by the software, nor the reporting of the output according to what specifically required by the GAM. So the usual format required by the GAM for exporting, for reporting the expanded uncertainty, the standard and the expanded combined uncertainty, and all the other ancillary information is not well addressed. Then for what concerns supplement 1, we can say that there is a good coverage for what concerns the application of the input probability density function and the Monte Carlo method estimation of the measurement of the measurand and the uncertainty evaluation, in the sense that most of the software dealing with Monte Carlo, they use this kind of recipes provided by the JCGN 101. So for each input quantities, you have to choose a specific PDF, and you have a library of possible probability density function, and then the software calculate Monte Carlo propagation of distribution and summarize the mean and the standard deviation of the simulated data as an estimate for the measurement and as an appropriate uncertainty evaluation. So this is done more than half of the cases, but we have not a good percentage of software providing coverage interval for the output quantity at a prescribed coverage probability. Not to speak about the fact that 101 make a reference to two different kind of intervals, for example, probabilistic symmetric or shortest interval. You can see here that you can calculate at the same level of confidence two kind of coverage interval for your output quantities, but they are not usually mentioned in this software. Not to speak about the adaptive Monte Carlo procedure, which is mentioned in a section of the 101, nor the validation between the GAM framework and the Monte Carlo framework. So this is something that is not well covered. Last but not least, but it is unfortunately very quick to comment, the adherence to the JCGN 102 is very, very poor. So practically not of these characteristics we were asking for are covered, in the sense that everything is very poorly covered. All the aspects both of multivariate low propagation uncertainty and multivariate Monte Carlo method. So, for example, the low propagation for multivariate model, that is a simple formula involving the matrices, is not applied in 80% of the cases. Even worse for the construction of multivariate coverage region, and also the application of the Monte Carlo method for multivariate models is not very often implemented in the software. So for making a summary, we can say that the good things are that we have a large variety of software for measurement uncertainty evaluation. They offer a good covering, a good dealing, addressing the law of propagation of uncertainty framework concerning sensitivity coefficients, combined standard uncertainty, expanded uncertainty. And we have also quite satisfactory covering of the Monte Carlo method framework in the sense that the input PDF are treated within libraries. We have estimation of the measurement and uncertainty evaluation. The drawback is that not many software actually provide some clear evidence of validation. Only 46% provide Monte Carlo method coverage intervals at a prescribed coverage probability, and very few software cover aspects of multivariate tools, either LPU or Monte Carlo method. As mentioned by Peter as well, a more detailed analysis of the survey made on the courses, on the examples, and on the software is overall collected in this paper from Acta Imico, which is open access, and so you can have a look at the elaboration more in detail. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Francesca. Thank you. There was a lot of information about this survey. And I think it's important to remind to everyone that now if they want to access the different surveys, they can find the information online on the MatMet website in the dedicated part of the website to the MU training activity. So there they will find the different survey with all the information, with much more details about the software, the training courses, and the classroom examples. So thank you very much. I think it's already 11, so time's running very quickly. So if there are any questions about the survey, I suggest maybe we'll take those questions during the part 3 of the, what do you think, of the workshop, where there is the dedicated place for the exchange. Am I correct? Yes. But in the meantime, please do not hesitate to ask your question in the chat. Then we have a record of them and we can take the question later on. So it's time for a short break, and we reconvene at 11:20 for the videos presentation. Thank you very much. See you soon.
Thank you.
Francesca, question. Are you chairing or am I still chairing the session?
I'm chairing the
as you
next
wish.
session.
Okay.
No, you're going to present the first presentation, so I'm going to chair the session.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, what time is it? Just 1 minute left for the coffee. Okay, I think we can start again our workshop. We continue with the second part of the session on material for trainees. So in this session, we are going to present new videos that are produced or that are under developing at the moment by the activity. And we have four sets of videos. The first one is a teaser video on measurement uncertainty relevance. This is still under completion, but Nicola Fischer will tell you about how they are going to structure and produce the video, which is of interest for everyone involved in any kind of measurement in their professional activity. So a quite general video that underlies the importance of measurement uncertainty evaluation. So please, Nicola.
Yes, thank you, Francesca. Do you see the slide?
Not in the presenter mode yet. Yes, but now we can see your comments, so maybe you have to switch the screens if you have two screens. Yes.
Better.
Let me see. No, it's not
No?
changed. No, it should work like that.
No.
No, now you exit the sharing.
I exit.
Yes, we cannot see your
Oh.
presentation anymore.
Okay.
Try it again.
Sorry.
It's okay.
It's again the same, right?
Again the same, yes.
I think, Nicola, if you look at the three dots at the bottom of the first slide, then there's an option for turning off presenter view, I think.
Okay. Let me see. Now?
No, you're not sharing. Now you're sharing something. Okay, not in the presenter mode yet. Not yet.
Not yet?
I mean, we see your comment slide.
That's
your
the next
commented
slide.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, I don't know. I deactivated, but.
Well, in case you can use not in the presenter mode, enlarging as much as possible the view of the slide if you want.
Like
okay.
this.
Yes.
It's
yes.
it's better. Okay.
Yeah,
thanks.
it is.
Okay, so that's the measurement certainty teaser video that is still under development, as Francesca said. So I'm going to explain the rationale, the aim of the video, and present you the development plan. So the context, the rationale of this video. So measurement uncertainty evaluation, the GUM, are perceived by many of the people involved in metrology as a reference, as a must-do process and a reference guide. And they are well established in, I would say, most or all the disciplines in metrology community. And probably if you're attending this meeting today, you're aware of the measurement certainty evaluation, and you also know the GUM. And there are a large number of courses existing, either on the NMI or even at academic side. It was presented just a few minutes ago, and a long list of courses existing and of software existing to help to implement measurement certainty evaluation. However, outside NMIs and outside calibration and testing labs or accreditation bodies, in industry, for example, or for some universities, or for engineers or technicians that are not in their daily life involved with measurements, measurement certainty is less or even not known, not even well understood, and the need of providing a statement of uncertainty is not always understood. There are maybe different meanings for the word uncertainty itself, and people do not always see the benefit of evaluating measurement certainty. That is a big limitation. So the aim of the video is to disseminate the topic of measurement certainty towards a wider audience, not only people that are in daily life involved in measurement science, to provide a first hint of what it is and why it is useful. So it's not just in a few minutes that we will explain exactly how to evaluate measurement certainty, but it is to advertise the topic in order that people then that are interested go to training courses or join network scientific bodies such as MatMet, but or many others like Eurolab or whatever, and find the documentation, go to find some documentation like the GUM. So the audience of this video is targeting engineers, technicians, scientists, people mainly outside, I would say, NMIs or calibration labs that are already aware of measurement certainty, those people who are not already familiar with measurement certainty. It targeted decision makers in industry, in, I would say, national and European organization and institution, public and private, who need to become aware of the existence of measurement certainty. It will also help those who are already familiar with the topic to justify the importance of the work toward the customers or management, because that's also one of the difficulties that face people who already provide uncertainty statement, where difficulty to make them utilized by their colleagues, their management, or their customers. And it is also at the end also help for measurement certainty teachers that may use this video as an introduction to advertise their basic courses. So what are the video features? So the topic in measurement certainty, it should be very short because it's ordered not to bore people. It's really to advertise, so something like 3 minutes long. It will be a mix of videos, images, and motion design. And because it's first advertising a topic, it is very important to focus on the design, the visual aspect, and the rhythm of the video that are as important as the message itself, in order to really target unfamiliar people who should not be bored by technical parts of measurement certainty evaluation. It is a collaborative activity between many of the partners of the AMU training that are listed here. I hope I do not forget some of them. There are many partners, and the idea is to be able to translate the video in foreign languages in order to make it more accessible to people who are not that familiar with English. It will be developed at the end by a dedicated company that has expertise in motion design, video excerpts, and images. It will not contain mathematical content, or very few. It will be provided in English, and at the end, as I said, with subtitles in the different languages of the partner included. So the video itself will be divided in different sequences, very calibrated. The first sequence will be an introduction to right away to introduce the topic that I would provoke a shock to the audience in order to immediately interest it. It should be very short, like 30 seconds. And the message that is conveyed is that everyone is involved in the measurement is concerned by measurement certainty, since no measurement is perfect. But on the other side, the good point is that no one should worry about measurement certainty, because it means that it will help in terms of risk of bad decisions. The look of this sequence is that there will be blurred situational objects that becomes clearer as details are added to understand that measurement uncertainty helps you to gain in terms of knowledge on your measurement process, on your quantity that you measured. The design tool will be a succession of videos as images that might also add some motion design there. And one of the ideas was to use, for example, to illustrate this, some basketball shooter. For example, everyone knows Michael Jordan, and make the contrast between someone like Michael Jordan, who will make almost all these shots on target, whereas a classical player doesn't succeed. I mean, that's the first hint to show that there might be some variability in the results. There might be some trueness in the results. I mean, to make it understand with the first illustration. Another possible illustration is a customer that is unable to fit his oven into a space provided in his kitchen because the dimensions taken into account are too approximate. So it shows you the bad consequences on some difficult measurements. So that's for the first sequence. Then we'll have a second sequence based on examples. So here the aim is to take an selected number of real-life examples to show that measurement certainty is universal. It contains very different domains, and that every kind of measurements can be related to that topic. So it will last a little bit longer in order to present different example coming from environmental side, from health, or from industry. So far, we've selected 3 examples, one which is the measurement of the pH in the seawater, another one related to doping control and risk of false decision, another one to performance of energy building, with the idea that those examples that can talk to anyone, that are examples that are quite understood by a wide audience. So the message that we want to convey here is that measurement certainty is a universal concept with a large variety of applications, that without measurement certainty, there is a risk of false decision that is not taken into account, that measurement certainty is a quality tool to assess the confidence in the measurements, and there is a unified framework to deal with measurement certainty that is the gap. So there is a solution. So this sequence will be fully designed following motion design concept. And then we'll move to a third sequence related to decision making, because measurement certainty, why people should be interested in measurement certainty, because most of the time that behind the evaluation of measurement certainty, there are some decisions to be made. So the aim here is to identify that everyone is concerned throughout the data process, that measurement certainty is not just the matter of the people who is doing the evaluation at the end, but also those who provide the data, or those who transfer the data, or those who are in charge of developing instruments and so on. So that sequence probably specifically targets the industrial community in order that they understand that all along the chain, everyone is concerned. Again, there is a message here that there's a risk of wrong decision comes from lack of information, from lack of knowledge. And it's, again, to illustrate that everyone is involved in the value chain and in the cost induced by the process. And all those people should be aware of measurement certainty. So we're probably here to illustrate those messages. We use the doping control and the energy building example, and also perhaps an industrial production line in motion design to show that everyone along the line, from the design to the control quality and testing authority, is concerned. And finally, a last sequence will be the conclusion that should summarize the message and guide towards training and information providing by, for example, NMRs or network. So the idea here is to say that there is a way to evaluate measurement certainty. What is measurement certainty? That you should develop your skill, be trained, and everything will be fine. So it's in order to deliver something positive and reassuring people at the end. So illustration with images and videos of classroom to show to illustrate the training message here. And we'll finish, of course, with the generic acknowledgement and disclaimer slides to thank all the contributors to that video. So that is for the different sequences. So now, what is the development plan over this year? So the written scenario will be completely written by LNE, data science, communication, and training teams, and will be then shared and finalized with the different partners involved in these activities, validated with the partners. And following this validation, a first draft will be developed by a video design company, as I said, and an English version following the feedback of the different partners will be delivered. And then the text will be translated by different partners in order to provide foreign subtitles, which mean different versions of the videos in different languages. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nicolas. Very interesting. We are looking forward to having this teaser video, because really it's a good advertising of the importance and the relevance, but of measurement certainty, but without scaring people. So I appreciate the attention to the psychological aspect of the presentation. I suggest everybody that wants to make questions again to put in the chat, so we can address it also verbally in the afternoon session when we will have a question and answer session. So from this, thank you very much. We'll move to Peter Harris, who is going to show us actually a set of 4 videos developed on the topic of the importance of data quality. So even before starting evaluating measurement certainty, it is important to be aware of the quality of measurement data we have in our hands. So please, Peter, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So yeah, as Francesca said, one of the outputs of the activity was to provide some videos on the importance of data quality, and I'm going to show those videos this morning. But I thought before doing so, I'd just give a couple of slides of introduction. So the idea behind the videos was to introduce why the consideration of data quality is important when taking decisions based on measurement data. I'm thinking here of data quality as something that is wider than just measurement uncertainty. So measurement uncertainty being one of the ways in which we might think about the quality of data. And the video is organized into 4 parts. So one giving an introduction to data quality, the second ways to ensure data quality, the third focuses on quality management systems and in particular the use of data management plans, and the fourth looks at data quality in the context of metrology. And I'd like to acknowledge my co-authors who did most of the work in writing the scripts. We have at MPL a dedicated training team who then turn those scripts into the videos that I'll show, and the other partners in the MU training activity who commented and reviewed that material. So briefly, the first video looks to consider questions such as what is data quality, how might we measure it, and what are the impacts of not understanding and maintaining the quality of data. The second video then focuses on ways to ensure data quality, for example, documenting data and the inclusion of appropriate metadata, ensuring it's both human and machine readable, and then referencing, of course, the FAIR principles, so making data findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. The third video looks at quality management systems, and in particular, as I said, the way that we can use a data management plan to make us think about things such as what type of data we're collecting, how we're going to store and keep that data secure, who we're going to give access to the data, and what happens to the data after our project has ended. So what's the life cycle of maintaining and curating the data. And finally, looking at data quality in the context of the metrology of the measurement science. So traceability is fundamental to metrology, and data is an essential component of traceability chains, and therefore we need to worry about data quality. Okay, so now we test the technology. We see. Okay. Right. I'm going to play these. I'm going to play them in turn. If you don't see or hear them in particular, then let me know, and I'll try and fix that.
Data surrounds us in everything we do. It exists practically everywhere, from science to business analytics to personal information. Each day we create and store more and more data, building a wealthy reserve of information. But this reserve can become cumbersome and difficult to navigate if we don't remain vigilant. So we need to make sure our data quality is high enough for users to access the data easily and to use the data in the most effective way. To begin to understand how, let's first ask, what exactly is data quality? Data quality is the extent to which data is suited for a specific purpose. Good quality data can be used in groundbreaking scientific research, like in the 1800s, where data scientist John Snow pinpointed the source of a London cholera outbreak. While poor quality data can result in some very expensive mistakes. We can measure data quality based on metrics such as accuracy, completeness, consistency, validity, uniqueness, and timeliness. If our data is accurate, it should reflect actual real-world scenarios. And we can confirm this by using a verifiable, trusted source to collect our data. Completeness tells us whether we have enough data and information about the data to meet our requirements. Missing data can skew our perspective and lead to false conclusions if we're not careful. As we move our data around, pass it through applications, or save it to new locations, it may change slightly. Data consistency tells us how alike these different data sets are and whether they conflict with each other. If we're going to store our data in different locations, we should make sure it remains consistent. In order for data to be considered valid, it should be collected according to a defined set of rules and parameters. It should also conform to the right format and fall within a specified range. A dataset's uniqueness score is based on whether there are any duplicated or overlapping values within the set. We can remedy a low uniqueness score through processes such as data cleansing and deduplication. Timely data is available on demand. Real-time updates can help ensure that the latest version of our dataset is available to users. So, what happens if we don't consider these metrics? Failure to maintain good data quality can severely impact our workflow. For example, poor data quality will mean our databases will be harder to integrate into other systems. We might find ourselves having to retroactively change our database, which could interfere with current operations and processes using that database. For our employers, this could mean a loss in revenue, and researchers using our data may produce an inaccurate result, which could lead to a loss of reputation, and even fines for more serious offenses. This is why it's important we remain vigilant and ensure our data continues to meet relevant quality standards. This series of training videos will give you a general understanding on how to maintain high-quality data in your working environment, ensuring your work generates the impact it deserves. We've all experienced difficulties when dealing with poorly documented data. Proper documentation allows users to better access and understand our data. Ensuring data quality makes it easier for users to work with our data. To do this, we need to make sure our data is fair. The FAIR principles are the cornerstones of data quality. Applying the FAIR principles well means our data is not only human-friendly, but can also be understood and actioned by computerized systems as well. This will help us achieve maximum impact from our research data, as well as attract new partnerships in a broad range of communities. So what does FAIR data look like? FAIR data is data that is findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. Making our data findable does not only mean making them available through a search engine, but it also means creating metadata that is easy for both humans and computers to search. Metadata describes our dataset and can give users vital information on how best to utilize our data. You've most likely come across some form of human-friendly metadata in the form of README files. However, JSON formats are also popular, as they can be read by both humans and machines. Once a user has found our data, they'll need to know how to access it and whether they require authorization. We can specify in our metadata how a user can access our data. This might include what software we used to create it and what software we recommend for reading the data. If we're using more complex storage options, such as binary formats, we will want to tell any users how to decode it. To make the most effective use of our data, users will want to exchange the information between different systems and use it in different applications. We should therefore make sure our data is interoperable. We can do this by ensuring our data uses formally specified terminology, uses well-known standardized formats, and can be manipulated using reliable open-source software. We should also take care to avoid discipline-specific jargon and acronyms, and to include glossaries where appropriate. The final goal of the FAIR principles is to maximize the reuse of data. This can be achieved through ensuring our data meets domain-specific community standards. So remember, good quality data starts with us applying the FAIR principles in our data workflows. Sometimes we need a helping hand to ensure good data quality in our workflows. Not to worry, though, because we have quality management systems to guide us. Quality management systems are formalized systems specified in the ISO 9001 standard, which document processes, procedures, and responsibilities for achieving quality policies and objectives, including data quality. With a quality management system in place, we can consistently provide products and services that meet necessary standards. A data management plan forms a key component of a quality management system, and by designing one at the beginning of any project, we can use them to achieve high data quality. Data management plans help us identify decisions we have to make regarding our data. Good data management plans aim to answer: what type of data are we collecting, and what will our supporting information tell us about the data? How will we store and keep our data secure? Who will have access to our data? And what happens to our data after our projects have ended? How we answer these questions depends on the nature of our project. But there are some general recommendations we should consider. Your institution may have a procedure that describes a risk-based approach to managing software and data developed or maintained within the institution. It's important to understand any risks associated with our software and data so that we can determine how best to mitigate them in our software or data management plan. NPL requires its staff to use such a procedure, and the EMN MathMet has released so-called quality assurance tools for that purpose. We should ensure that our data contains a minimum metadata specification, telling us what information we must include. Depending on the topic of your project, there are ISO standards that can help you do this. We can reliably store our data and software using version control. Version control services, such as GitLab, allow multiple people to store files and simultaneously work on them. Your institution may provide you with subscriptions to these services. We now know the basics of what to include in a data management plan, which is part of the larger quality management system guiding us toward good data quality. Data quality is at the heart of metrology. It underpins the work done within our measurement institutions. work which has far-reaching implications for the society as a whole. Let's have a look at how data quality impacts our work as metrologists. Robust measurement results rely on trusted, calibrated instruments with values reported in SI units and including statements of associated measurement uncertainty. We can ensure our data conforms to this through clear metadata specifications. To build trust in our measurements and calibrations, we need to show that they are traceable. The International Vocabulary of Measurement defines measurement traceability as follows. It is a property of a measurement result whereby the result can be related to a reference through a documented, unbroken chain of calibrations, each contributing to the measurement uncertainty. By rigorously specifying previous versions and the root version of our data in its metadata, we can ensure our data is traceable back to its origin. Each link in our traceability chain contributes to the uncertainty of a measurement. We can also explicitly report measurement uncertainties in our data files, which can be used by other researchers to quantify the uncertainty on their results where they are dependent on our data. This is vital for ensuring the correct interpretation of scientific results is achieved. Having confidence that our data is reliable can help us accurately determine the uncertainty of our measurements and propagate these throughout our workflows to understand their impacts. Specifying measurement critical information in our metadata means we can ensure SI unit adherence and consistency. Failure to do so has led to catastrophic failures in the past, such as the deorbiting of the Mars Climate Orbiter satellite. If we include unit specifications in our metadata, we can help to mitigate such errors and improve the quality of our data. Our high-quality measurement data will no doubt be of interest to other researchers. By implementing techniques such as data management plans, conformance to the FAIR data principles, and by working to the relevant standards, we can enable our data to be interoperable. By letting other researchers know how we collected our data, what software we used to analyze it, and by keeping our data in a standardized format, we can be sure that future users can readily implement our data into their systems. Robust metadata specifications are incredibly powerful for ensuring our data reaches a high quality. We can all do our bit to create a positive global impact, and that begins by making sure we produce high-quality data for our research.
Oh, so apologies, Francesca, for misspelling EMN MathMet. But
I've noticed
anyway,
that.
yeah,
the only mistake.
that's the problem with AI. You see, you can't trust it. So that's that's that, and happy to take any questions later on.
Thank you very much, Peter. The videos are really effective and very professional, as it was said in the chat. So congratulations to the MPL team for realizing such nice and interesting videos.
Thank you.
Okay, we can yes. If you have again any question, please don't be shy. Put in the chat. Meanwhile, I will move to the next video, which is a video on the importance of not to blindly applying the usual coverage factor k equal to 2 that we all use plenty of time when we want to get an expanded uncertainty for starting from the combined standard uncertainty. And so this video is a video for increasing the awareness of the usage of the coverage factor. And the leading of this subactivity was Kati Klaubenberg, who is now going to present the video. Please, Kati.
Yes, thank you, Francesca. I will present the video in a minute and briefly introduce you to it. So if you can see my screen. Okay, I assume you do. So
yes,
okay, thank you. Let me briefly introduce this video on the coverage factor K, which you use to derive expanded uncertainties. So we have all heard about the guidance documents, the GUM suite of documents today, and about the main document, the JCGM 100. And you may also know that there are certain prerequisites to apply this GUM main document. And I list some of them here, like the measurement model needs to be sufficiently linear, the derivatives need to be known, and if you want to derive a coverage interval, it needs to be symmetric, and then guidance is provided for normally distributed measurands only. And there are some other assumptions as well. And if some of these assumptions are not fulfilled, there are other documents like JCGM 101 and the Monte Carlo method that you can apply. But today we will focus on the JCGM 100 document and on expanded uncertainties in particular. So a particular form of coverage interval that is symmetric and that you derive by multiplying the standard uncertainty by a factor k. And the video shows what assumptions you need to fulfill, in particular when you use the factor k equal to 2, which you see everywhere. Okay, so you will see the video called the coverage factor k explained from standard uncertainty small u to expanded uncertainty capital U. And it was led by the NMIs that you see listed here. It was produced by the NMIs you see listed here and led by PTB, and it explains the origin particular for the choice k equal to 2 for expanded uncertainties, and actually when this choice may be inappropriate. And the video is freely available. I will show it in English, but there's a German version as well. And there are subtitled versions in Spanish and Bosnian, actually Slovakian very soon as well. And I would be happy to receive feedback on this video. So let me share the video itself now. Okay. And please let me know if you can't hear it or can't see it. So I will start now.
Katia, I think we are not hearing the sound, and also the display is quite slow down, it seems.
Okay, so I will try again. Okay. So let me share again. Okay. Okay. Let's try again. I hope you can see it, and I will start it now. Consider a measurement result.
That's fine.
When you learn about its expanded uncertainty, do you ever wonder how this value was derived? Why do so many fellow metrologists calculate it by multiplying the standard uncertainty by a factor of 2? Almost every calibration certificate mentions a coverage factor of 2, and many guidelines do so as well. In just 9 minutes, we will explain what's behind this. More importantly, we will highlight when the factor 2 should not be used to derive an expanded uncertainty. For this video, we will assume that you know the principles behind evaluating a combined standard uncertainty according to the GUM, the Guide to the Expression of Uncertainty in Measurement. In other words, that you are familiar with the law of propagation of uncertainty, or LPU. And possibly you know what an uncertainty budget looks like. You may even have already heard of expanded uncertainties. You will recall that standard uncertainties are the input and output of the LPU. They are universal and represent the key element of the GUM.
But what were expanded uncertainties again? And why are they needed?
Expanded uncertainties define an interval about a measurement result. This interval shall contain the value of the measurand with a certain probability. According to the GUM, you can multiply the standard uncertainty by a particular factor to obtain the expanded uncertainty. This factor is called the coverage factor, or K factor. Depending on how you choose K, the length of the interval around your measurement result will be different, as will the stipulated coverage probability. For example, the factor K is chosen such that there is a 95% probability that the value of the measurand will lie within the interval y minus capital U to y plus capital U. Expanded uncertainties allow us to formulate probability statements. For example, they allow us to state that we are 95% sure that a given interval contains the true value of the measurand. Probability statements are required when carrying out interlaboratory or other comparisons, or when assessing conformance to specifications. They are needed for stating calibration and measurement capabilities in accreditation, for reporting uncertainties in calibration certificates, for quantifying risks, and so much more. It is quite common practice to use a coverage factor of 2, that is, to derive the expanded uncertainty by multiplying the standard uncertainty by 2. This practice is mentioned in the GUM and in many guidelines. Most often, the reason for using the coverage factor 2 is the assumption that the coverage probability is approximately 95% and that possible values for the measurand follow a normal or Gaussian distribution. Remember that a distribution captures all the knowledge you have about a quantity. A measurand whose knowledge is described by a normal distribution has its probable values around the mean or estimate. The probability decreases exponentially towards infinite values. The standard deviation or standard uncertainty expresses the spread or width of the distribution. For a normal distribution, the interval plus or minus 2 times the standard uncertainty has a coverage probability of 95.4%. So the coverage factor, K, is 2. In contrast, when your knowledge about the measurand is described by a rectangular distribution, then 1.65 times small u will yield a coverage probability of 95%. So K is equal to 1.65. For a T distribution with 4 degrees of freedom, the coverage factor K reaches 2.78 for the same coverage probability.
The first take-home message here is that to derive an expanded uncertainty, you first need to know the distribution of the measurand. More importantly, different distributions lead to very different coverage factors for the same coverage probability. So how do so many people know that the distribution of the measurand is a normal distribution?
Well, they covertly apply a very powerful mathematical theorem known as the central limit theorem. We will not go into details here, but the central limit theorem basically states that the linear combination of many input quantities will follow a normal distribution, even if the distribution of the individual input quantities is quite non-normal. However, the central limit theorem relies on assumptions. In the context of the GUM, this is first, that your measurement model needs to be linear. Second, the input quantities need to be independent, for example, uncorrelated. Third, you need to have a large number of input quantities. And finally, the uncertainty of a few input quantities shall not dominate over the remaining ones. With these assumptions in mind, let's look at several problematic scenarios when applying the central limit theorem to derive expanded uncertainties. One scenario is when you have too few input quantities. For example, if your only input quantity follows a rectangular distribution, or if your only input quantity is determined with just a few measurements, resulting in a t-distribution, or if you have some other non-normal distribution. In these cases, the central limit theorem does not apply. A similar scenario is when you have a large number of input quantities, but only a few of them dominate the uncertainty budget. Finally, the central limit theorem cannot be applied when correlation exists between input quantities. All of these scenarios are commonly found in uncertainty budgets, but the assumptions of the central limit theorem are not fulfilled, and then this powerful theorem cannot be applied. In such cases, we have difficulty knowing whether or not the value for the measurand follows a normal distribution, and whether a coverage factor of 2 is appropriate to calculate an expanded uncertainty.
Today's second take-home message is that the coverage factor of 2 often involves the assumption of a normal distribution and that the central limit theorem can be applied. So before using k equals 2, it is important to verify that the assumptions underlying the central limit theorem actually hold. But what can we do if the central limit theorem is not applicable? For example, if we have few correlated or dominating input quantities.
There's a GUM document that describes a solution for deriving the distribution associated with the measurand. This is known as the Monte Carlo method. It propagates the distributions for the input quantities through the measurement model and is a very flexible alternative. It applies also to nonlinear models and easily derives expanded uncertainties or generalizations thereof. The Monte Carlo method is not difficult, and there's software and training available for learning and implementing the method. There are other alternatives to calculate expanded uncertainties, for example by analytical means, but these are usually not so easy. In this video, you saw that when deriving expanded uncertainties, it is not enough to know the standard uncertainty and the coverage probability. You also need to know the coverage factor k, and for this, you need to know the distribution for the measurand. Assuming the wrong distribution will result in expanded uncertainties that are either too small or too large, or whose coverage is over or understated. Quite often, the coverage factor 2 is used, based on associating a normal distribution with the measurand. In many cases, this assumption of normality is based on the central limit theorem. But before applying the central limit theorem, you need to check its assumptions. For example, that no input quantities dominate. So before you calculate the expanded uncertainties as 2 times the standard uncertainty, be sure to check whether the coverage factor k equals 2 is appropriate by verifying the assumptions of the central limit theorem. And when you see others using capital U equals 2 times small u, be skeptical. Finally, you learned that there are alternatives to assuming a normal distribution for the measurand. GUM document JCGM 101, as well as software and training, support you in propagating distributions and calculating the expanded uncertainty or asymmetric generalizations if needed. Whichever method you use, central limit theorem, Monte Carlo, or others, always be sure to cite it when reporting expanded uncertainties. Okay, so this was the video. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kathy. I'm particularly happy about this video because I think I'm going to use it on a regular basis in my next courses. It really raises the awareness of how not to behave blindly when just, well, okay, I am applying the document, and that is always a critical behavior we have to maintain. I see also a reaction by Massimo. Please, if you want to comment.
Yeah, just I want to tell Kathy that I suggested this video to my students because let's say during my class that is going on now, I presented expanded uncertainty very shortly, so I gave them the opportunity to expand on the details with this video.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. We could move on to the next and last video. The next video is a demo, demonstration of a particular software developed by LNI, the French National Metrology Institute. So one of the software actually that was categorized, analyzed within the survey of the software, and Sébastien Marmin from LNI is going to present it to us. Please, Sébastien.
Thank you. So yes, as you say, Francesca, the last video is on a software that we use at LNI for our trainee for teaching. It's LNI Uncertainty, and the video as you said, the software is listed in this survey of available software for MU evaluation that I recall you can find on the web page of MU training. And this software that the video illustrates is a user-friendly software that implement the GUM methods, so Monte Carlo and LPU. If we go more in the details, it's a standalone application that you can install. It's based on MATLAB, but you don't need to own MATLAB, or you don't need any MATLAB license. You just need to install a MATLAB library, a free MATLAB library, additional component. And the main point I want to mention before we start the video is that the software, the aim of the software, and in general, any tool that help computing measurement uncertainty is that it supposes that the user knows the process of measurement uncertainty evaluation, and it's just implementing concretely what is the computation. But it's important that the trainee are aware of what the software does and what are mainly the formulas or the methods behind it. So here are different features that will be presented in video, and if I may, Francesca, you can start to broadcast the video.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so I will share my screen. Again, as for the others, let me know if you can hear the sounds and see it properly. I'm going to start now.
Hi, I am Sébastien Marmin, data scientist at LNE. This short video will introduce the software LNE Uncertainty. Developed by LNE, the software allows for the evaluation of measurement uncertainty using the method described in the Guide to the Expression of Uncertainty in Measurement, the GUM, and its Supplement 1. The software therefore uses two methods: the Law of Propagation of Uncertainty, LPU, and the Monte Carlo method. The process can be summarized in 4 steps: analysis of the measurement process, quantification of sources of uncertainty, propagation of uncertainty, and expression of the final result. For example, let's consider the calibration of mass, a case study with 5 input quantities. The measurand delta M is the difference between the conventional mass and the nominal mass. This example is included in Supplement 1 of the GUM, which presents the Monte Carlo method. Let's specify these inputs in the software. MRC, the conventional mass of a reference weight, delta MRC, the conventional mass of the adjustment weight, rho A, the mass of density of air, rho W, the density of the weight to be calibrated, and rho R, the density of the reference weight. The mathematical model of the measurement delta M is entered using MATLAB syntax. Once the model specification is complete, we move on to step 2, assigning probability distributions to the input quantities. There is a wide range of possible distributions, and LNE Uncertainty even includes a tool for distribution estimation. MRC and delta MRC follow normal distributions, and the mass densities follow uniform distributions. We can enter a covariance matrix in the case of correlated quantities. We then move on to step 3, propagation of distributions. We specify which methods to use, LPU, Monte Carlo, or both. The Monte Carlo method randomly draws values according to the probability distribution of the input quantities using a random number generator. By default, 1 million draws are made. The calculation is then performed, and the resulting distribution is displayed in a histogram. We obtain the mean of the output distribution, the standard uncertainty, and the expanded interval for both methods. The coverage probability is 95% by default, but it can be modified. The results obtained during use can be saved and reused for another uncertainty evaluation. Similarly, the figures can be easily exported. Finally, additional features have been implemented to refine the analysis. For example, the software provides a sensitivity analysis establishing the uncertainty budget. The input quantities are sorted according to their contribution to the output variance. There are 3 methods: the reference sensitivity analysis proposed by the GUM, Spearman's rank correlation coefficients, or Sobol indices. As a second feature, the software offers a GUM validation, that is, evaluating the agreement between the GUM's LPU method and the Monte Carlo method of Supplement 1. Here, the results show a discrepancy between the 2 methods for the evaluation of the standard uncertainty, which is 40% higher for the Monte Carlo method. The LPU method is therefore too optimistic in this case. The software also offers an output characterization, determining an analytical law that approximates the output distribution, using a Kolmogorov-Smirnov test. I invite you to consult the manual or to write to us at the address specified on our website. Thank you, and enjoy using it. So this is it. So don't hesitate to ask questions in the chat, and I'm available. Yeah, I see some people want to install the software.
Someone already did it, and he was happy. Now, just to comment on a question received by Kati about how to determine the contribution of the single input quantity to the final budget of uncertainty. For example, your software is able to provide a sensitivity analysis according to several statistical methods, and this is a nice feature to implement for that, for understanding
Yes.
which are the more influential input quantities. Yeah, is there any comments specifically to the LNE uncertainty video? I'm very happy about this video as well because it's quite a technical one, but well, it's not technical in the sense that it's too complicated, but it's on a technical software that would be also very nice to use in the training courses. During the survey of courses, I realized that not so many courses take advantage of softwares, and instead using software like this one that performs both the LPU and the Monte Carlo method really can help the teachers to move from the GAM to the Monte Carlo method evaluation to multivariate models. So the softwares can really help teachers and trainees in expanding the topics covered by the courses. All right. Yes, please. There is Utsnim Axmabet. I don't know your name. Sorry, you can talk.
Yeah. This video was good and useful. I have a question. I am Ahmad Bey Muhammad Aminov, a specialist of acoustic laboratory in the Uzbek National Institute of Metrology. My question is, which file does this software cover? For example, we saw mass measurement process. In this software, which files are there?
So sorry, which file? Which?
For example, file is file of metrology. For example, acoustic, thermometry.
A field. Yeah. It's a generic software, so as long as you know the mathematical model formula, you can use it for any field. The field is not relevant for using this software. You can use it from any field. You mainly need the equation that from the input gives the output the measurement.
There is not district any field. Understandable.
No, it's a very generic software you can apply to any field of application. It's a statistical software, so as far as you know the measurement model and you are able to model the input quantities according to some probability density function, then it performs the Monte Carlo and the LPU method, and it provides you with an estimate for the measurand and the coverage interval and whatever. So it's a mathematical tools. You can apply to measurement from mass, temperature, pressure, whatever fields of metrology.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. Is there any other comments? So I think this session is completed. I hope, oh, let me see, there is some other comments. There is some information to start any software. I don't know, maybe there is some, yes, help user guidance.
Yes, so if you go on the NLE website and the software page, you will find the instruction about how to install the software. And once the software is installed, so you need first to install some free MATLAB library. Once the software is installed, you can access also the user manual within the software.
Yes, I think I put it in the chat, the link to the LNE software.
Thank you, Francesca.
Yeah, okay. Okay, with that, thank you very much for attending so far. And please reconvene at 10 minutes past 1. So we are going to start with a new session, the session dedicated to the material for the teachers. And then I think a very interesting section on the future and developments for the measurement uncertainty training. So we can have a quick lunch. And yes, thank you very much. See you in 40 minutes. Bye-bye. See you later.